Today, we're gonna read a little story. Oh, but it's not so little. Look how big my book is. Oh my goodness. It's so big. It's bigger than my head. Alright, what is this one called? What's on the front? What are these on the front of the story? They're called planets. This story is a tour of the planets. So we're gonna read about our planets today. Look up at the sky on a sunny day. Think of yourself standing on planet Earth, spinning in space. 8 more planets are also spinning in space. How many planets? There are 8 planets. Can you count that with me? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 planets. And all planets are circling around the star called the sun. Okay, I can't read it. Earth. Each planet follows its own path around the sun. The path that each planet travels is called an orbit. An orbit is what goes around. So the planet follows an orbit. It goes around the sun in an orbit. Each planet also rotates. That means it moves. Or spins like a top. Do you know what a top is? It spins like a top as it moves through the orbit. The time it takes to complete the rotation is 1 day on the planet. How long is a day on Earth? 24 hours. Whoa, that's such a long time. So 24 hours is 1 day. Each planet pulls on objects that are on or near the planet. The pull is called gravity. Gravity is what holds us down on the planet. That's why we can put our feet on the ground and we can walk. It keeps us from floating in the air like a balloon when it flies away. Okay? The greater the pull of gravity, the more something weighs on the planet. So when there's more gravity, you're heavier, and when there's less gravity, you're lighter. Ooh. Let's find out some more. There are 8 planets that orbit the sun. They are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. They make up the solar system. So here's 8 planets. Here's the sun, there's Mercury, there's Venus, there's Earth, that's the planet we live on. There's Mars, there's Jupiter, and then there's Saturn, and then there's Uranus, and then there's Neptune. Oh my goodness. 8 planets. How many? 8. Very good. The solar system also includes moons. Do we have a moon on Earth? Of course it includes moons that go around the same planets. Asteroids, which are big chunks of rock. What are asteroids? Big chunks of rock. And comets, they are balls of ice and dust. What are comets? Balls of ice, and dust. Oh, what planet do we live on? What's this planet? It's Earth. Our planet is Earth. Earth is a globe. There are 3 main layers of the Earth. There's the crust. There's 1. The mantle. That's 2. And the core. That's 3. How many layers? 3 layers. We live on the crust. what layer do we live on? The crust, which is made of hard rock. Most of the crust is covered with great bodies of water, such as oceans, lakes, and rivers. What is Earth covered with? Oceans, lakes, and rivers. And because of all the water, people have nicknamed the Earth the blue planet. What is it called? The blue planet. A layer of the air is called the atmosphere. The atmosphere is the air that surrounds us. The atmosphere has two main gases, nitrogen and oxygen. Oxygen is what we breathe. And without air to breathe, we couldn't live on the planet. Oh my goodness. Below the Earth is the crust. Below the Earth's crust lies the mantle and the core, which are made up of rock and metal. What are they made of? Rock and metal. And in some places, these layers are so hot that the rock and metal have melted into liquids. Oh my gosh. They've melted into liquids, so it's like water. It's not hard anymore, it's liquidy, like water. Would you like a tour of the planets on an imaginary spaceship? Oh, I think that's exciting. Let's go on a tour of the planets on a spaceship. So climb on board and buckle up quick. And here we go, let's go. First stop is the moon. Where are we going? The moon. The moon. Everything on the moon, everything looks very strange. The sky is always black. It's always black. Always black, like that. What color is it? Black. It's always black. Mountains, valleys, and big craters cover the moon. And there is no sign of life anywhere. There's no sign of life on the moon. And to get to the moon, we have to travel there on a spaceship. The rocks on the moon are much like the rocks on Earth. But there is no atmosphere here. To walk on the moon, astronauts have to be in special spacesuits. Remember? The special spacesuits. Because the moon is so much smaller than the Earth, the pull of gravity is less. So humans weigh less on the moon than they do on Earth, and they can jump so much higher on the moon than they can on Earth. The moon does not make any light. What we see on Earth is a reflection of the light from the sun bouncing off the moon. The planets also shine because light from the sun too. Oh my goodness. What planet? Oh, what is this? Fire up your rockets and speed the spaceship towards the sun! The star at the center of the solar system. Like other stars, the sun is a gigantic ball. And it's super, super hot. Oh, super, super hot. It sends out tremendous amounts of heat and light. The energy is so powerful enough that it reaches every planet in the solar system. The diameter of the sun is about 400 times as big as the diameter of the moon. The moon is so small compared to the sun. Oh my gosh. Guide the spaceship away from the sun and towards Mercury. That's our next planet. The closest planet to the sun. Because Mercury is so near the sun, it's unbelievably hot. It'd be so hot. And during the day, the temperatures climb to 800 degrees. Oh my goodness, we couldn't even live there. It's so hot. It gets like 100 degrees here on Earth, and that's so hot. 800 degrees? Wow! The surface of Mercury looks like the surface of the moon. Like the moon, Mercury has many steep cliffs and deep craters. The craters were caused by asteroids and comets hitting into the surface of Mercury. Mercury orbits faster than any other planet. It zips around the sun at over 100,000 miles an hour. Oh my goodness, a car can't even go that fast. That is so fast. Oh, which one's next? Pilot your spaceship million miles towards Venus. What's next? Planet Venus. Venus is Earth's nearest neighbor in space. The first thing you see around Venus is a thick layer of poisonous acid clouds. Oh my goodness, stay away from Venus. It's not good. It's gonna hurt you from its poisonous clouds. The clouds on Venus traps the sun's heat, creating what's known as the greenhouse effect. The temperatures on Venus's surface about 864 degrees. Oh my goodness, that's hotter than Mercury. So it makes it hotter than any other planet. And guess what? It's hotter than most ovens can get. Oh my goodness. The surface of Venus, like that of Mercury, has many craters made by crashing asteroids, and there are thousands of volcanoes. Oh, did you know that you can see Venus from Earth? What? Oh, let's find out. In fact, Venus was a star. They called it the morning star when they saw it before the sunrise, and the evening star when they saw it after sunset. Guess what, guys? I saw Venus as a star this weekend while I was camping. Alright, what's the next one? What's the next planet? Pass through the orbit of Earth and find Mars. What's next? Mars. The fourth planet from the sun. How many planets from the sun? Fourth planet. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many? 4. Yes, 4. Like Earth, Mars is made of rock, but it looks red because of its rusty iron in the soil. The huge gash across the planet is called Valles Marineris. It is 300,000 miles long, up to 50 miles wide, and 5 miles deep, making it much bigger than the Grand Canyon. Do you know what the Grand Canyon is? The Grand Canyon is somewhere with big mountains, kind of. So it's bigger than the Grand Canyon. Looking down the spacecraft, we can see a huge volcano named Olympus Mons. The volcano is 15 miles high, which is 3 times the height of Mount Everest. Mount Everest is the tallest mountain on Earth. This is even taller than Mount Everest. The volcano is so much bigger. Mars is the last of the 4 Earth-like inner planets. The inner planets are all solid bodies of rock and metal. All the 4 planets after the sun are solid, made of rock and metal. So let's find out what the rest of our planets are made out of. Before reaching the next planet, we must rocket through the asteroid belt. Thousands of asteroids orbit around the sun in space between the inner and outer planets, and sometimes the bright comet flashes through the asteroid belt. Some people sometimes call asteroids minor planets because they are made of rock and metal, and they orbit around the sun too. The largest asteroid is called Ceres. It is only about 600 miles in diameter. Oh my gosh, that's gigantic! And most asteroids are less than 1 mile in diameter. 1 mile? That's so small compared to 600? Oh my gosh! Now and then, asteroids fall out of the orbit and they fly towards the Earth, but most burn up before they hit the Earth's surface. But a large asteroid may have crashed into the Earth 65 million years ago. Some people think that very thick dust is raised to cut off the sunlight, and the lack of sunlight killed the plants and the dinosaurs. So they think this big asteroid killed plants and dinosaurs that lived on Earth. What's next? What planet's next? The next planet we're visiting is Jupiter. But don't even think of landing on Jupiter. The planet is not a solid surface. It is made of almost completely hot, swirling gases covered by a layer of frozen clouds. Oh my goodness, it's made out of gases and frozen clouds. Surely the most thrilling sight on Jupiter is the Great Red Spot. This huge spot measures about 1,600 miles long and 7,500 miles wide. Scientists think that the Great Red Spot is really a storm that rages within the spot. So the big red spot right here, scientists think that's a big storm happening on Jupiter. Jupiter is the largest of all the planets. It's the biggest planet of all, and more than 1,000 planets the size of Earth. So 1,000 Earths could fit inside Jupiter. That is so many. Let's read next. What's the next word? Next is Saturn. Do you see Saturn? What's different about Saturn? Oh, we'll find out, but what's this? That's what makes Saturn so special. Fly past Saturn too. Like Jupiter, Saturn is a ball of gas surrounded by swirling clouds and many moons. But Saturn's rings make it one of the most beautiful planets in the solar system, and that's what makes it so special. The 7 main rings of Saturn consist of thousands of smaller rings. The rings all move in orbits around the planet's equator. Guess what? The Earth has an equator too. As we approach the rings, we can see that they are made of billions of lumps of ice. Saturn's rings are made of ice and rock. Oh my gosh, Earth is made out of rock. And they're very, very thin. From the top to the bottom, no one ring is more than 2 miles thick. So they're so small. Okay, what's the next planet? Landing on the cold blue-green gas of Uranus is also impossible. Like all planets, Uranus orbits around the sun and rotates. But while the other planets are nearly upright Uranus tilts to the side. For part of its orbit, the North Pole points to the Sun. Uranus has at least 11 thin, pale gravity gray rings. It has some little tiny rings that are hard to see. See, if you compare the picture, this is Uranus. Do you see the rings like you do on Saturn? No, they're so small that you can't see them. 15 moons orbit around Uranus. 15? How many? 15 moons. Astronomers found 5 of them by looking through a telescope. What's a telescope? A long tube that helps us see far, far away. The last planet is this one. Which one's next? We must fly more than 1 billion miles to get to Neptune, another blue-green planet. Very far from the Sun, Neptune is the last of the 4 giant gas planets in the solar system. Stormy winds and of up to 700 miles an hour whip through Neptune's thick cover of clouds. 700-mile-an-hour winds? That is so fast. I don't even, you couldn't even stand up. That is so fast, it would blow you away. Especially violent masses of gas swirl around one huge area of Neptune. Scientists call this the stormy region. The stormy region, the great dark spots. This site looks much like the great red spot on Jupiter. See, the stormy spot is like the great red spot, but it's a dark blue on Neptune. Triton, the largest of Neptune's 8 moons, is the coldest known object in the solar system. It is the coldest. The temperatures on its surface is about 400 degrees below zero. That's so cold you would freeze to death. Triton may have been a comet that was captured by Neptune's gravity, so it was sucked in and it became a moon. And much of the surface is covered with a mixture of frozen water and ammonia. Ammonia is a dangerous gas. What is beyond all of our planets? There's billions and billions of stars. Each looks like a tiny spot in the night sky, but each is a giant ball of super hot gas, like the Sun, many of the planets circling around them, just like the planets in the solar system. So, when you look up into the sky and you see all the stars, remember that all the stars are made out of gas. They're just like a lot of the planets in our solar system. Our tour of the planets is now done. It's time to turn the spaceship around and head back. It was so fun to travel through space, but it will be even better to return safely to our planet Earth. The end. And that was our tour of the planets.